Hi everybody, welcome back once again to the Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel, and today we've got something really exciting. We've only previously looked at a shotgun by this manufacturer once on the channel, but they've just launched something which is completely different. I'm going to show it to you. This is without a doubt one of the first reviews of this model, if not the first review. So behind this box we have the brand new ATA SP Pro 12. Now this is a gun I have had so many communications over. When's it coming out? Can I get my hands on one? What's the specification? How much does it cost? What does it weigh? Should I buy this over this? Today you're going to find out all those answers, so stay tuned. To look at it, it looks like a fairly plainish competition gun. We've talked about competition guns being plain before. Paratz's, Beretta DT11, the Ultra XS Pro, we did a review on all those guns, so do check them out on the channel. And from my point of view, a competition gun shouldn't really have that much engraving on it. It's all about the features of the gun, how the gun feels, how the gun performs. So this is no exception. We've got a plain action. If you haven't watched the ATA video we did before, which was the SP Deluxe, do check it out, because in that you will see that we make various comments, some references to the fact that this manufacturer took a lot of inspiration from a very well-known Italian maker beginning with B and sounds a bit like Beretta. Right, so move the box out of the way and we'll crack on. So like I said, to start with, it's a brush finish, really smart. It doesn't look dissimilar to a Beretta DT11. Yes, we haven't got the Azori blue line, but the actual style of the gun, the design is there. There's no Kirsten bolt because it's not a DT11, but we've got, you know, aesthetically, it ticks all the boxes. It looks nice, it's inoffensive, it's not glary, and I like it. So moving on to the barrels. Available in 30 and 32 inch. We've got 10x8 tapered rib, which again is kind of standard ATA tackle these days. And one thing I really like is I know that the guys of the Sportsman Gun Centre have worked really hard to get this gun right in terms of what UK shooters want and what they need. We've done away with the matte finish barrels, which traditionally you get on the ATA sporting models. And we've gone for this very nice shiny gloss, which normally is associated with the game versions. From a durability point of view, it's much better because arguably clay shooting guns are usually out more than game shooting guns, usually subjected to a bit more hammer, a bit more all out in the elements, and I think it's a better, more durable finish. So we'll take the barrels off. As you can see, and we've seen this on a few guns recently, we have got a large gap here where there's no rib, and what that does obviously reduces the overall weight of the barrels, which improves the balance of the shotgun. Superior steel shot proof, 18.4, so it's nominal board. So that means more and more shooting grounds these days are going to fiber wad only. So ballistically, as people will probably know or have certainly been told, backboard barrels can be a little bit sketchy with fiber wad. So having a nominal bore barrel means that with fiber wads, you have no loss of pressure, etc. I won't bore you with ballistics because it doesn't really interest me, to be honest with you. But 18.4 barrels, I can see where they've done that. So nominal bores, fiber wads, happy days, all good. Ventilated barrels, and as you can see along the rib here, the center rib, we've also got some little holes. We'll move on to that shortly. Now, what is really exciting about this gun is the Sportsmen have also enabled the help of T Precision Chokes here in the UK to design and work on the forcing cones for the gun. Obviously, with a competition gun, it's all about smoothness, reducing the felt recoil, and the best way to do that is to have a well set up barrel design with good forcing cones, good length forcing cones. Moving on to the chokes, we get 5 extended. Now this is the same system largely as Beretta used for a number of years, which is the mobile choke. So if you wanted to put aftermarket chokes, we've just talked about Teague, who came up with the forcing cone design for this gun, Briley, whatever, you can put different chokes in it. They are color coded. Not only are they color-coded in exactly the same colors as, Beretta did once upon a time on their Victory choke system, but they have also got stamped on the side, laser engraved, the denomination of the choke, as well as the system with the little stars on. And that basically means you've got 1 star for full, 2 star for 3/4, 3 stars for half, 4 stars for quarters, and 5 stars for skeet. The bead is a traditional kind of red fiber optic LPA kind of thing, which I like to see on sporters. Brass beads, silver beads on game guns, and for me on a sporter it should be kind of red or white with a slightly bigger size than what you'd expect on a equivalent game shotgun. So just to carry on, finish off with the barrels, we've got engine turning, as with all the ATA models. The ejector system is, dare I say it, almost identical to Beretta in like a 680 series. So it's a tried and trusted design that just goes on and on and on. If you've not seen any of the 680 series videos, 682 Super Sport, 682 Gold, Gold E, check them out. People who have noticed me playing around with this gun from the start of the video may have caught sight of the fact that the gun hasn't got a selector on it. Now, if you think about the most successful clay target shotguns in the world, the Beretta DT11, the Perazzi MX8, Keymans, Renato Gambas, largely all of those are non-selective trigger. And what that basically does, and we're talking about largely trap guns and skeet guns, but if you go back to the 1990s, particularly with the Gambas and the Keymans, the majority of them were non-selective, as were Perazzis at the time. And what that does, by giving you a non-selective trigger, just gives you that increased reliability, dependability. It just enhances the fact that a lot of thought has gone into this shotgun. You know, it's designed for competition shooting. What we don't want to overcomplicate things. Let's just put what we know works inside the gun, and ultimately it will work. The trigger, adjustable. I've not seen an adjustable trigger on an ATA before, so this is a new design. Really, really smart, nice gold, which I think complements the silver action really well. It doesn't look at all cheap, doesn't look at all tacky, and lots of adjustment. No Allen keys involved. You know, you haven't got to get a screwdriver out, take it out, lose the screw on the bench, push the button in, move it forward and move it backwards. So depending on your size, your height, what you're wearing, because a lot of people go on about, well, in the winter I'll wear more clothing, so I want a slightly shorter stock. This can actually be moved from 375 millimeters, which is about 14¾ inches, to 390 millimeters, 15, I think, and a quarter. So quite a substantial amount of adjustability in that trigger. Another great feature. So continuing with the theme of the nice glossy blue barrels, we've got the same finish on the trigger guard, trigger group, on the furniture, and also on the fore-end iron. Now, watch this. You weren't expecting that, were you? So this gun, despite its price point, which I'm not really going to talk specifically about because I don't want to, but I'm sure you'll be sending me messages and having your own ideas, has actually got a detachable trigger. So again, we go back to the most successful clay shooting guns of all time, the Perazzi MX8, the DT10, the Beretta ASE, all got detachable triggers. The reason for detachable triggers, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it's all about reliability, safety, and maintenance. Everything's encased in there. You've got your hammers, your springs, your inertia blocks, so it's all there, very easy, no stripping of the stock off, taking the action apart to get at the oily bits, if you like, should you have an issue or should you want to make some adjustment. You know, a lot of people with competition guns like to slightly lighten the trigger pulls, and I would imagine that's something you could potentially look at with having this design. If you weren't already bowled over by the fact that it's got a detachable trigger, the way it goes in and out is absolute child's play. With a Perazzi, for example, you've got to push it quite hard forward, then you've got to drop the trigger out. You know, sometimes I've known people really struggle with the DT10, DT11 trigger groups, whereby you also need a degree in trigger physics to get it back in. Not the case with this at all. You literally offer it up to the slot in the action and push it down. To release, pull the knobbly bit back towards you and whip it out. It's absolute child's play. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a look whether it changed, whether the gun was broken or whether it's closed. So just for peace of mind, the gun is now broken. The trigger assembly goes in exactly the same. You cannot do that with the Beretta DT10 or 11. So moving on, what does it weigh? So this is a 30-inch gun. Like I said, it's also available in 32. I don't believe it's available in 28-inch. Having said that, ATA manufactured for a worldwide market. It may be available in 28, but at the present it's not available here in the UK in 28-inch. So this gun weighs a fraction over 8 pounds. Now, if you watch the channel before, you know that I described that kind of sweet spot for a 30-inch sporter as about 8 pounds. Not really any less, but a little bit more is okay. This is absolutely on the nail. 8 pound and half an ounce, I believe it was. And balance-wise, just put my finger there on the hinge pin. Look at that. If that wasn't enough, and we hadn't got enough features packed into this little bad boy, you can also buy a stock and barrel weight kit. They come in at 60 grams each. And obviously with these little holes along the rib, you can put them wherever you want. I've talked about before, there are manufacturers that supply barrel weight, but they only allow you to fit them underneath the forend, which is not always where you want the weight to be. It's usually further forward than that or further back than that. The stock weight kit, exactly the same as the Beretta B-Fast, or certainly a variation on it. You've got a stop bolt hole, you've got a separate hole underneath, and these wad style weights can be screwed into the back. These are available separately. So while we're talking about weight and balance, what does it feel like? It actually feels really, really good. I've owned a lot of competition shotguns over the years, and this certainly doesn't feel like a gun of its price point. I would say picking it up, it feels a gun probably 2-3 times as much at least. Then you look at the features, it's very, very impressive. Onto the woodwork. So again, the guys at the Sportsman Gun Centre have a lot of input of this. You know, they've played around with dimensions to get it right for the UK market. They've slimmed the stock down, etc., etc. And what they've come up with, in my opinion, is absolutely spot on. So this is the factory adjustable. We have got 35mm drop at comb, 50mm drop at heel, which if you were to buy something like a Beretta 694, that is the highest stock dimension you can achieve as a standard fixed stock sporter. If you've seen the adjustable comb video we did, you will know that factory adjustable combs normally start lower than their fixed stock counterpart. Stay with me, guys. I have adjusted the comb fully with the Allen key, which is supplied in the box of tricks, and you can get a real good amount of height on this, in excess of probably 28mm at the front. There's not a lot of drop on it when you've got the comb up. It's almost parallel, maybe 2 or 3mm, which makes it absolutely perfect for an all-rounder. Someone with a long neck, you could shoot trap with it. I mean, even in its basic form, if I mount the gun, so even in its standard form, I pick that up and I can see a little bit of rib. I could actually sort of work my way around shooting that. The bonus is I've still got the adjustable comb to come up. If you compare this to other manufacturers' factory fit adjustable combs on the market, it's much higher to start with, and that for me is a massive plus point. Palm swell, ever so subtle. You know, I've not got particularly big hands. It feels really nice. I don't like guns with massive palm swells, but again, I've said on competition guns, I do like to feel a palm swell. The grip radius, which I believe is 90mm, again, just feels nice. Some competition guns these days, I get clients in and they've got quite big hands, and inevitably the hands are falling off the bottom of the pistol grip. No such problem with this particular gun, the Pro 12. The grade of wood itself, Turkish walnut, obviously makes sense, is apparently grade 2. Obviously, you've seen some of the wood that ATA put on their guns. It is absolutely exceptional. This is, I would say, is much higher than a grade 2. All important, straight through the head, nicely figured, nice bit of colour in it as well. You know, it's not an offensive looking gun. Yes, you could put a bit of oil on it at home, but what else can you do when you be shooting on a Sunday afternoon? Double point checkering. If you watch the channel, you know I'm a big fan of double point checkering. I believe it's the best for most kind of styles of shotgun. And what's interesting is on most of the ATA ranges that have a rubber pad, the Super Sports, etc., it is a standard ATA manufactured pad. They've actually pulled out all the stops, gone to Pacmire and got a proper Pacmire decelerator recoil pad, as you would get on a number of the Browning and Miracle range. Again, with all ATAs, these are individually hand fitted. Again, the attention to detail for the price point, staggering. Forend, beaver tail, love it. Competition guns, in my opinion, should have a beaver tail. It's my favorite design, always has been. It's not a huge beaver tail like I would describe something like a Miracle MK38, which is really chunky in the hand, quite subtle, a bit like a traditional Miracle 800 or maybe a Browning 725. Feels good. The gun is manageable. You can move it nicely. I haven't shot one, which is something that I'm looking forward to do at some point, because I'd like to see what the recoil is like with the Pacmire and particularly those Teague forcing cones. Love to see what's happened there. Couple of final points about the forend. Obviously the checkering is nice. It's quite fully checkered, which again feels nice in the hand. Bit of extra grip when you're shooting in the horrible British weather. Push button forend, but most importantly, in terms of the shape of the bottom of the forend, they've got rid of that, on this particular model anyway, they've got rid of that belly that I don't like that comes on a lot of the ATA models, which is a bit rounded and doesn't quite feel that great. So to summarize, the gun, SP Pro 12, detachable trigger, fully adjustable trigger, 15mm travel, very good feature. extended color-coded chokes with choke denominations laser stamped. 14 cones by T Precision chokes, non-selective trigger for increased reliability, grade 2, although it's way more than that, Turkish oil finish walnut, factory adjustable comb, nice and fat in the comb as well, I didn't point that out. Really good height, 35-50 with the option to go even higher, 90mm in the pistol grip, Patmeyer recoil pad, and then we move on to the box. Before you all shout at your televisions and your mobile phones and your iPads and your laptops, there's a very good reason that this gun is supplied in a cardboard box. And having spoke to the guys at the Sportsman Gun Centre, it was all to do with cutting costs. Because of the price point they wanted to launch this model at, it was imperative that it came in a cardboard box, which, let's face it, the cases normally go in the loft anyway, and all the goodies probably end up in your range bag or in the back of your car. So what's worth pointing out is, we talked about it in the previous ATA video, is it's actually quite a relatively new company in terms of shotgun manufacture, 1955. My dad's older than that. Right, open the box. We'll get the bubble wrap out. You get a telescope with it, and inside the box are tricks. Okay. We've got a choke key, which interestingly enough is better than the one that comes with the Mirror MP11. Check out the video. You've got the 3 extra chokes. So we have got 3/4, improved modified 2 stars. We have got half, 3 stars, modified, green. And then we've got full, which is silver. In addition, you've got the Allen key to adjust the comb, which is absolute child's play. And you've got 3 metal, not plastic spacers, to allow you to have a reference point for where you put the comb for removing and cleaning, etc. Not only that, we have got these nice socks. It's got the ATA Arms brand on there, which goes over the stock. So you got one for the stock, one for the barrels. So in addition, you've got this little plastic thing that goes on the barrels. And if we just close the box and put it back in there, it's a cardboard box. It's all about transport, does the job. You know, ultimately it's going to live in your gun cabinet, so you don't need a case. If you do wish to obtain an ATA deluxe case, they are also available, I believe. So what do I think of this gun? It's an absolute game changer. You know, in terms of the UK market in particular, I don't like to talk about prices, but if you do a quick Google, you will come up with the price of this gun in its fixed stock and adjustable stock variants. And you will probably have to do a double take, because it is exceptional value for money. To produce a gun with these features, yes, it's made in Turkey. Yes, it sits alongside, you know, a lot of lower end guns that have got a similar kind of action and barrel design. But the innovation and the thought and the attention to detail and the input from the British market into this gun is exceptional. So there you go, folks. That's my take on the all new ATA Esprit Pro 12. Hopefully it's the first review, but it's certainly one of the first reviews, and I hope there's been a lot of information in there for you. If you've got any questions about this gun, do get in touch with me directly. Don't forget to check out the website. Keep liking and subscribing the channel. Don't forget to keep sending your suggestions in as well. We will listen to you. We will bring you reviews that you want to see. We'll bring you content that you want to see. Safe shooting. I'll see you again soon.